Prince Philip and Prince Harry had two different approaches to royal life, according to royal expert Ian Lloyd. The author of The Duke, 100 Chapters in the Life of Prince Philip, discussed the Duke of Sussex's remarks about his upbringing, perceived as criticism against Prince Charles' parenting skills, as well as the Queen and Prince Philip's, by many royal watchers. Mr. Lloyd told Express.co.uk, "It's so easy for children to look back and point out the things that parents did wrong. I think it's easy for Harry to say that. But royal life is not easy. There are different approaches. Harry's approach now is to sort of analyze himself and part of the family to see what went wrong. Prince Philip's attitude was very different. He just got on with it. Prince Philip's childhood was terrible. Between 1930s to 1940s his mother was taken away to a sanatorium. His father saw that as an opportunity to leave the family and go to Montecarlo with his mistress, and in a period of 8 months Philip's 4 sisters all married Germans. Philip lost his home and family in a short period of time. And in 1937 he lost his favorite sister Cecile in a plane crash, and there was no counseling in those days. It was a very tough period of time, but Philip never felt sorry for himself. He used it to stimulate himself, to move on. He said, "You got to get on with it." It's two different approaches. I think he would have been baffled by Harry's attitude of reflecting back on painful times. His attitude, and the Queen's, who at the moment must be hurting like mad about Prince Philip, was to move forward and think about the future. Both Prince Philip and the Queen were very similar in this. They shared an almost Victorian attitude on work and contributing to society, I think. Prince Philip's views on royal life and service were passed on to his children, Mr. Lloyd also said, explaining the Duke of Edinburgh was very much in charge of their education. He said, "It was unusual for a man in the 1950s to play the second fiddle. Therefore the Queen made sure that while she was the head of the country he was head of the family. So he was in charge of the children's education and their development. It didn't always work. Prince Charles hated Gordonston, which had been very good for Philip. But he tried to teach his children the way to act, and they were taught service." Prince Harry opened up about his upbringing in May, when he appeared in an episode of the podcast Armchair Expert. He said, "I don't think we should be pointing the finger or blaming anybody, but certainly when it comes to parenting, if I've experienced some form of pain or suffering because of the pain or suffering that perhaps my father or my parents had suffered, I'm going to make sure I break that cycle so that I don't pass it on, basically. It's a lot of genetic pain and suffering that gets passed on." He continued, "I started to piece it together and go, okay, so this is where he went to school, this is what happened, I know this about his life, I also know that is connected to his parents, so that means HES treated me the way he was treated, so how can I change that for my own kids?" Prince Harry also spoke about Prince Charles as a parent in the mental health docu-series The Me You Can't See he co-created with Oprah Winfrey.